Hello, everybody, and welcome to Anything But Freakin Rasslin, my favorite show of the week. We're not going to talk about wrestling, even though I have to say a little something up top about wrestling. But Jeff, how you doing today?
Good. I think you gave yourself that loophole last week where you got like 45 seconds to talk about wrestling.
Well, it's not really about wrestling. It's a little about wrestling. It's not really about wrestling. And since I know everybody sees the first 10 minutes of this, I want to hit this early on. Okay, Jeff, oh geez, how long was it? About 2 months ago or so, I approached iHeartRadio about possibly doing a wrestling show. Okay, now I'm going to be honest with you, Jeff. I used wrestling to get my foot in the door because that's how people know me. I have 25 years in the wrestling business. Trust me, bro, I in no way, shape, or form wanted to do a wrestling show. But I figured, you know what? Let me use wrestling. Let me show them what I could do. And hopefully I could parlay this into something else. That was the game plan. So we did the show on iHeartRadio, Vince Russo, Ham and Agus preferred. And that was my plan. You know, let me show them what I could do. I've done radio before. It's like getting back on a freaking bike. I know how to do it. I know how to interview people. I know how to talk. Let me do this, show them what I could do. You know, figuring, bro, maybe in 6 months or so, they'll say, oh, Vince, you know, why don't you do something bigger than a wrestling show? So we did the first 2 weeks, bro. We produced the first 2 weeks, and I was supposed to go back in the studio yesterday to get this Saturday's show prepared. And I'll be honest with you, Jeff, late Wednesday night, I got a call from like the general manager of the station. And it's not the guy I usually deal with. The guy I usually deal with, his name is Big Rob. He's a big wrestling fan. He's the program director. I got a call from his boss. So the guy called Wednesday, and I was doing a podcast. And by the time I called him back, I couldn't get a hold of him. It was too late in the day. So now I spent all Wednesday night, bro. Listen, the glass is always half empty with me. And I'm like, oh, frig, man, they're going to cancel this show, yada, yada, yada. And I'm thinking nothing but the worst. Finally, I had to wait till yesterday morning, and the guy called me back. Like, it was even before 9 o'clock. It was like first thing in the morning. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to hate to lose this gig, because I thought this could help us promote Realm and hopefully get my foot in the door, in a couple of months. But basically, the general manager said to me, listen, Vince, I've listened to the show the last 2 weeks. And he said, listen, you need to do something greater than wrestling. He said, if we continue on with this show, it's going to pigeonhole you. It's going to have a very, very, very limited audience. He said, I think with your personality, with your voice, with your uniqueness, he said, I think there's something special about you. He said, I think we can draw a much bigger audience. So he said, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to just give you a talk show. I'd like to put you on the radio. I'd like to give you a talk show, talk about the topics that you want to talk about. We'll define the show. And he said, and I'd like to do that sooner rather than later. So I basically said to him, well, I'm supposed to come in today, to do this Saturday's wrestling show. What should I do? And he goes, don't come in today. He goes, the wrestling show is over. He says, we are going to do something on a much bigger scale with you. And so I got to tell you, Jeff, I was kind of shocked. I mean, listen, I was willing to pay my dues. I was willing to prove myself. I didn't think that after 2 weeks, the guy was going to come forward and basically say, okay, I'm ready to do something now. So, I was kind of taken off guard with that. But, let's face it, it's the reason why I got into it in the first place. But the big news here is for the brand, there was a second part of the Mick Foley interview, and there was a full over an hour 2-part interview with Ric Flair that we have already recorded and already put in the can. Now, at iHeartRadio, they're kind enough. They said to me they are going to send us all that material. So what we're going to do, Jeff, is for the brand only. This is a brand exclusive. This isn't going out to everybody for free. This is a brand exclusive. This is a perk. On December 21st, we're going to play the Mick Foley interview in full. Now, you heard the first half of it on iHeartRadio. You have not heard the second half. We're going to play that in full. And the following week on December 28th, we're going to play the Ric Flair interview, me and Flair, in full, over an hour on September 28th. And those dates I specifically picked because you still have the opportunity to join the brand for $2.99 a month for life. So I wanted to make sure that those two interviews fell into the month of September. So if you pay your $2.99, you're going to be able to get the Mick Foley interview in its entirety, and you're going to be able to get the entire Ric Flair interview. $2.99 a month for life. You can opt out at any time. You need to go to vincerussobrand.com, and you need to use the code word brand.
And you said December a couple times, but it's September 21st and September 28th for these interviews.
I said December, bro?
You said December a couple times.
I'm losing my mind over here. September 21st and 28th. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. And you also said that everybody sees the first 10 minutes of that. Don't they see? Isn't the show free? Don't they see this entire show?
Oh, this is the free show. So I could have said that at the end of the gimmick.
Yeah. That's all right.
There you have it.
But I mean, with this being a free show, we might as well let everybody know what we're already 11 days in, so there's only 19 days remaining on this deal anyway, and how they can sign up for that.
Yeah, and like I said, I wanted to make sure that those interviews got into this month. So basically, for $2.99 alone, you're getting the Mick Foley interview, you're getting the Ric Flair interview, and obviously you're getting a lot more. I just had a great, before I got to you, Jeff, I just had almost a 2-hour interview with Ken Anderson. You know, we had a great interview. So, I mean, the entertainment will keep coming on the Brand Network.
And make sure you use, if you haven't signed up yet, when you hit the red subscribe button at vincerussobrand.com, it's going to bring up our original price. But what you want to do is put in the code word brand, BRAND, all lowercase, and that will drop your price to $2.99 monthly. And if you sign up this month of September, you will get that $2.99 a month guaranteed for as long as you have your membership active for life. And you always have the opportunity to opt out. I promise you, though, you're not going to want to do that. I believe in our content that much. You can ask other members of the brand. But you sign up this month, you get $2.99 for life as long as you keep your account active. So I think it's a great
not
deal.
only that, I'm going to tell you right now, okay, next week on The Swerve, I've got Dave Wills. Dave Wills is it's still real to me, damn it, guy. And I'm telling you, bro, I might as well have been interviewing Jim Cornette. You know, the guy came on the show wearing his I'm a Jim Cornette guy t-shirt. He had a little coffee table with all of Cornette's books on it. I might as well have been interviewing Jim Cornette. Him and I, we're on two completely different hemispheres. I mean, the complete opposites. And I'm telling you, bro, $2.99 to hear this interview. Bro, you're a Nimrod to miss the interview. I didn't want to say it, Jeff, but there I said it.
Is the Buck Kiss jersey for Scott Casey Gale? I heard on his show he's a big Bears fan. So,
bro, can I tell you something? First of all, it was Ken Anderson's a big Green Bay Packer fan, so I wanted to, start a little controversy with him. So I wore my Dick Butkus jersey. I got to tell you something, Jeff. I love this Scott Casey Gale. Bro, people have accused me of, putting his show up on I'm exploiting Scott. People have actually said I'm exploiting him. No, let me set the record straight. I love this Scott Casey Gale. I love the fact, bro, that he reads the blow-by-blow gimmicks and I need visuals. He reads the blow-by-blow gimmicks and all I see is the top of his head every show. I absolutely love that, bro. I think that is the greatest thing that I've ever seen. This week, Scott Casey Gale cut a Eric Bischoff promo. I love the fact, bro, that every NXT match was the greatest match that he ever saw. I love the fact
this is his line: a great back and forth match.
A great back. Everyone, bro. I love the fact that like every girl is hot. He's in love with like every single girl in NXT. Here's what I don't love, bro. Somebody needs to explain to me how I have 25 years in the wrestling business, bro. Every single Thursday, I am waiting on this lunatic to film this show. Jeff, I am not kidding you. He DMs me. Oh, Vince, I have to do this. I'll DM you when I'm done with this. I got to do this. I got to do that. Bro, I wind up spending my Thursdays sitting around waiting for Scott Casey Gale. That is an absolute shoot. Bro, there's no other guest I wait for. Whenever I book a guest on the show, I tell them this is the time we're doing it, and they're there at this time. This guy, bro, he's bowling. He's out to lunch. He's at the country club. I don't know what he's freaking doing, but like every Thursday, bro, I'm sitting here waiting for Scott Casey Gale. How did I ever get myself in that situation?
Well, he's a big star now. I mean, you know, you kind of get a big head when you become a big star. You know, maybe we're the ER. Like if he's George Clooney, we're ER. We're the first thing he's going to be on, and he's about to blow up and move past us and forget about us. But it's funny because I was reading somebody posted in the YouTube comments of his show. Is he famous? Because I see him all over the place on all these shows. Like so.
Bro, I just don't understand. Like, he's got that little phone gimmick, and like I'm seeing the top of his head and the arm all the time. He does this. Why can't he like look up and read the gimmick?
I think, I don't know. Maybe if he wrote his own notes, I feel like he's reading somebody else's.
He's reading somebody else's report, bro. But listen, let's be honest. I don't even know if he watched the show. He's reading somebody else's report. Bro, I don't even know if the report he's reading is true. Like, those matches could have never taken place, and he's reading them because I don't know if he watched the show, bro. But I don't know why he can't, like, pick his head up and read the gimmick.
Very entertaining show. Yeah, I mean, this guy, for those who haven't seen this NXT show, Scott Casey Gale is phenomenal. And he was doing his own thing before he ever came on here with Vince. He does his own wrestling shows. He does all these crazy videos. You know, this isn't something we put him up to. This is who he is. He does this on his own. We just brought him to our show. But man, the promo he cut on you is one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and that's what led to this. And I think that's a great story.
Here's the funniest thing. Okay, like there are three highlights to the show. The top of his head is one. Then he cuts the promo. He's got to rip the paper bag, and the paper bag's getting bigger and bigger every week. By the way, then the third promo, bro, is his plugs. Bro, here's the greatest thing about his plugs. He rattles off 100 plugs in a row, and you can't understand a word he's saying. And I don't stop him because, like, to me, that's the beauty of it. I don't know what he's plugging. You have no idea what he's plugging, bro, because he rattles them off so fast.
And he doesn't like pause or have to think about it. It's like he's got a teleprompter, like bam, 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 bam.
And bro, here's the funny thing, Jeff. I get through the show yesterday, and all right, Scott, thanks for joining us. I'll see you next week. I hit this stop recording button. Bro, I forgot to do his plugs. Uh-oh. And I thought he was gonna cry because I think that's his favorite part of the show. And I'm like, Scott, I forgot the plugs. He goes, what do you mean? I said, bro, I stopped recording. I forgot the plugs. We'll hit the plugs next week. Oh, bro, I thought the guy was gonna.
Yeah, where was his posse this week?
Well, bro, that's a whole other thing with this posse. Who's at school? Who's at the pool? Who's at the amusement park? Bro, that's a whole other story for a whole other time. Hey, I want to say a couple of things. I watched last night's game. You and I recorded Lions Tigers. I watched a little, I'm not lying to you. Teen Moms 2 was my first priority. I watched Teen Moms 2 at 8:00 on Thursday nights. So I was going to I was flipping over to the game, during commercials. Bro, there are two things I'm going to say right now. First of all, I'm telling you right now, with this Deflategate, Brady's going to be a man on a mission this year. I'm telling you, bro. He's out to prove freaking deflated football. Screw you all. Bro, I would not be surprised to see the New England Patriots run the table. That's the kind of year. But here's a question I have for you, bro. Bro, how do you give up 3 touchdown passes to Gronk? Like, if there's any guy on that team that should be double covered, that you should have your best defensive back on, like, okay, the secondary, it's Gronk and Endelman. That's it. There's nobody else. How do you give up 3 freaking touchdown passes to Gronkowski?
Their secondary is horrible. And the Bills played Pittsburgh in the preseason. And the Bills, for those who haven't been paying attention, they're stacked everywhere except quarterback. That's the big question mark. Everybody's concerned that the Bills don't have a QB. And of all the teams in the league, they're one of the teams that are the most, concerned about quarterbacks. The Bills' 4 quarterbacks, Tyrod Taylor, E.J. Manuel, Matt Castle, and Matt Sims, were combined 35 for 38 passing against Pittsburgh's secondary.
I had no idea, bro.
Yeah, their secondary is completely awful. But, yeah, I mean, the logic is that you figure that would be the guy. You know where he is at all times. And that first touchdown, he was – I don't know if you saw the first touchdown, but nobody was even on him. He was split out wide. Nobody was even covering him. So Brady hurry up and snapped it and just, threw it to him.
Bro, you want to hear something unbelievable that I heard today? Like, put this in perspective, bro. This is unbelievable. Gronkowski just tied Jason Witten for number 5 on the all-time receiving list, okay, for tight ends, number 5, okay? Bro, Witten has played in 191 games. Gronkowski has played in 66.
I know. Could you imagine if he hadn't been hurt at all to this point in his career?
That is an unbelievable statistic, bro. Freaking unbelievable. 66 games to 191, and Jason Witten's a great tight end.
Yeah, I think before it's all said and done, as long as he doesn't have any more injury problems, I mean, there's going to be an argument of him being the greatest tight end of all time.
Yeah, no question about it.
I mean, I know Tony Gonzalez has the numbers, but as far as just dominating and nobody can stop him, I in my lifetime anyway, I haven't seen anybody more dominant than Gronkowski at tight end.
Jeff, here, listen, I want to bring up something to you. And this wasn't on my list till this morning, okay? And it may be politically incorrect, but, like, I have to say it, and I want to see how you feel about this, okay? Bro, when 9/11 is approaching, and especially the day before, okay, I got to be honest with you, bro. I dread it. On September 10th, I dread September 11th because I know I'm going to get an entire day of everything that happened in September 11th, however many years ago. I know I'm going to get the planes into the building. I know I'm going to get the buildings going down. I know I'm going to get an entire day of that. And I got to tell you something, bro. I've said this a million times. I beat a dead horse sometimes. I'm sorry. I'm a guy that suffers from depression. I don't need to see that, like, every year for 24 hours to remind me of the devastation and bring me back to that time in history. And the reason why I say that is because, bro, like, I put on Mike and Mike this morning because I missed a good majority of the game. I want to see the highlights, and there's, not Golick, the other one. What's his last name?
Greenberg.
There's Greenberg, being very solemn about 9/11. And bro, it's the yeah, that day and this happened and that happened. And, like, our job was to, entertain you. And if we couldn't have made you forget about, like, it was that whole spiel, right, bro? Like literally the spiel you would have heard the next day. You know what I mean? And, bro, listen, here's the thing, Jeff. I get. We want to honor all those that lost their lives. I get that. I get we want to honor all the servicemen and women that lost their lives. I understand that their families never want to forget. All the firemen and policemen and rescue workers that lost their lives. Nobody wants to forget those lives. But do you really celebrate those lives, bro, by showing the replays and the devastation over and over and over and over and over again? How does that honor the people losing their lives? Like, I just like, again, bro, it's just the freaking media and it's just the freaking news, and they have the opportunity to show all that shit again, so they thrive on showing all that shit again. I don't know what that does for any of us. I don't know why I don't know how that honors the people that they say they're honoring. Now, Jeff, again, I don't know if I'm being politically incorrect, but I swear to God, every time this September 10th comes, I cringe, because I know the next day, in front of my eyes, 24 hours for the entire day, I'm going to see a moment that, as a New Yorker, quite frankly, I'd like to forget. I don't need to be reminded of it every year with play-by-play and the actual newscast that took place. I don't freaking get it, bro. I don't see how that honors the people that lost their lives.
I don't think that's politically incorrect, but anything in this world is politically incorrect to somebody. Somebody's going to be offended by everything. So I try not to worry about stuff like that anymore. I will say the only good thing about this is children that may have didn't live it and don't know about it. If they learn what happened by seeing this, that's a good thing that comes out of it. But yeah, if I'm flipping through and I see images of that day in the towers and in the Pentagon, I just keep flipping. I don't want to see it again.
God, it's so damn depressing. I'm sorry, man. Okay, man. We lived through it. Here's another thing, bro. You just said about how did you open up your little rant there? What'd you say?
About politically incorrect?
Politically incorrect. Bro, here's another thing that's starting to drive me freaking crazy. Okay? And it happened again. It was on the news yesterday. It's driving. I don't understand this. Bro, when did we start this kick that everybody has to apologize to nauseam for mistakes they made like 20 years ago? How did this craze get started that nobody in the world is forgiving anymore? And we're sitting here and we're apologizing for mistakes and things we did 20 years ago over and over and over and over. I've seen it so much, I'm freaking sick to my stomach. Here's the latest craze, bro. This is the latest thing happening. You know who Vanessa Williams is, right?
Yes.
Oh, you know this story? Yeah, Vanessa Williams, bro, do you know what year it was, Jeff? It was 80-something, right?
I don't remember. You're talking about the penthouse deal, right?
To make a long story short, Vanessa Williams won Miss USA well over 20 years ago. A beautiful African-American woman, gorgeous Vanessa Williams. You know Vanessa Williams. She went on to have a singing career and an acting career. She made a big career out of her life. Well, after she won Miss USA, story came out that there were nude photos of her and another woman, in Penthouse. Okay. Immediately, the USA Network, not the USA Network, Miss USA pageant. I'm thinking the USA Network because I was about to say they pulled the WWE immediately. Immediately, these pictures are out. They stripped her of a crown. They stripped her of a tile. They stripped her of everything. Now again, Vanessa Williams was very young at the time. Very naive at the time. We don't know exactly what the circumstances were around those pictures. They weren't pornographic pictures. They were like artsy-fartsy pictures. We don't know if Vanessa Williams needed the money. We don't know what the photographer told her. We don't know anything about it. All we know is the pictures surfaced. They stripped her of the title. They don't have anything to do with her. It's the WWE Hulk Hogan scenario. So now here we are, bro. Fast forward 25 years later. 25 years later, Miss USA officials decide, you know what, we're going to make things right. We're going to apologize to Vanessa Williams, and after 25 years, however long it was, and we're going to give her a new crown. Okay, bro? So they're all set to do this. They're hyping this. They're promoting this. For the new, it's a great hook for the new Miss America show. I guess that's going to be coming up soon, right? All of a sudden, bro, the executives at the USA pageant basically tell Vanessa Williams' people, okay, we're going to give her this crown, and we're going to apologize to her for stripping her of the crown, but she also has to apologize to us. 25 years after the fact, where when it originally happened, Vanessa Williams apologized to nauseam. They still stripped her of the crown anyway. They still stripped her of the title. 25 years later, bro, they are still looking for their apology. What is it with these freaking people looking for apologies, looking for us to put a spotlight on a mistake we made 25 years ago that doesn't matter today in the big scheme of things? I don't understand what this craze is all of a sudden, bro.
Yeah, and it was actually, I just looked it up, it was 1984, so that was 31 years ago. And she was under the impression they were going to apologize to her, and they were like, no, wait a minute, she's supposed to come apologize to us. That's the only way we're giving her the crown. So, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. They want her to go on the show and apologize for doing these photos, and then they'll give her the crown. If I was her, I'd be like, screw you, I'm not coming. And now they're all panicking because they already advertised it.
Well, I mean, Jeff, what is going on, man? Are we now going to freaking do a background check on everybody and find one little thing and torture them and make them apologize, and then the apology isn't going to be good enough? What the freak, man? I don't understand this. We are human beings. Every single one of us were born with a sin gene in us. We can't help ourselves. I don't know how this thing started, because I guess we're more subjective to it, because of it keeps happening in the WWE over and over again. We keep digging up people's past mistakes, and they're apologizing, they're sorry, but okay, we got to let a little time pass so we can forgive you. I'm just so freaking sick and tired of it, bro. Whatever happened with I'm a mistake? I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Can we move on?
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, and she only accepted to go because she was under the impression they were going to apologize to her for taking her crown away. And I hope she doesn't do it.
She won't do it. She won't do it, bro.
That's awful. I mean, to expect her to go on to TV and apologize for that, I mean, give me a break.
She won't do it. She won't. And Jeff, here's another thing while I'm on a roll. Okay? I have a huge issue with it. And again, Jeff, I'm not going to be politically correct with this also, but somebody has to say this. Okay, bro? I watch Dr. Phil. I try to watch Dr. Phil 4 o'clock every day. I love drama, bro. I just love any kind of drama. I love the crazy mother-in-law. I love the cheating husband. I love all that stuff, bro, okay? Bro, Dr. Phil's show yesterday was around the Bill Cosby case. And he had that lawyer on there, that Gloria, whatever her freaking name is. You all know her if you see her with the beehive hairdo. She's had the same hairdo for the last 40 years, this woman. Gloria Allred. Yes. Yeah. And, bro, there were about 5 women that, Bill Cosby slipped the Mickey to, whatever he did to these women, okay? Listen. Let me set the record straight, and let me be politically correct. I'm not condoning anything Bill Cosby did. I'm not suggesting that we should drop Quaaludes in our date's drink. That is all bad. That is a no. No man should ever do that to a woman. I'm not condoning that in any way, shape, or form. But here's the thing, bro. Every one of these women coming forward 30, 40 years after the fact, okay, never spoke up at that time when it went down, bro, for one reason and one reason only, because they thought it would affect their careers. And they thought they would be blackballed from the entertainment industry. Nobody would hire them because, you know, of the allegations they made or reporting Bill Cosby for the horrible things that he did to them. So because of their careers, none of them came forward when it happened. So in other words, bro, as a human being and as a woman having respect for myself, my career superseded my self-respect. Okay, at the end of the day, my career and the ability for me to make money was more important than me respecting myself as a woman. Now, 40 years after the fact, when their careers are over, when they have nothing to lose, let's bury Bill Cosby and send him down the river, because nothing can happen to us now. We're 60 years old now. Our careers are over. Nothing, bro. Not for anything. What he did was absolutely horrendous and wrong and disgusting. And any guy that would freaking drug a girl, on a date to have his way with her is if that's what he did, and we don't have proof that he did that in the first place. But secondly, the freaking women who didn't come forward then because they were afraid of their careers and they were afraid of making it in Hollywood, and that was more important than their own self-respect. Bro, I have a huge freaking problem with that.
Well, I think part of that is, and I'm going to use your favorite line, that it was a different time. Back then, how many things got swept under the rug? How many women weren't taken seriously when they filed complaints like this? I think they probably thought nobody was going to believe them. And not only would that affect their careers, but nothing was going to happen anyway. So why ruin their career when nothing's going to happen to Cosby anyway? That's what I think anyway. There was no internet, that people couldn't bring this to the public's attention. It was very hard to get that out. And I just feel like maybe something like that would have been squashed back then, and it wouldn't have even mattered.
And Jeff, I buy all that, and I totally understand that, and it is a different time. But as a woman, bro, you have to have self-respect. Bro, listen. Even if nobody believes you, nothing's going to happen. I mean, whatever the case may be, you got to have self-respect, bro. You got to stand up for yourself. I mean, bro, I hate to say this, bro, but it's almost like, and you used to, there was a whole freaking All in the Family episode about this. Gloria got raped on a construction site, and she didn't want to report it because an attorney would have broke down her character and possibly made it even look like she asked for it. And I get that. But if I'm a woman and I have self-respect and this really happened, I don't know how I look myself in the mirror 40 years later knowing I didn't say anything about it when it happened at the time. I could make up all the excuses in the world, but the fact of the matter is my self-respect would have been the most important thing to me, and I wouldn't have let anybody violate me that way. I don't care who they were. And again, they're all, sitting there on Dr. Phil, they're victims and this, that, and the other thing. Well, obviously it wasn't that important 30 or 40 years ago.
Did you hear Damon Wayne's comments? Did you hear what he said?
Mm-mm.
He said, and my impression is he's trying to imply they're lying, but he said, what did was Cosby's penis so big that it knocked them out for 40 years that they couldn't say anything? And he said, and some of those women were unrapeable anyway.
Wow.
Why? That's awful. Absolutely awful to say that. I mean, if you want to go on there and say, I don't believe these women, I think they all came together, they're making up, blah, 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 that's fine. But, man, to say some of these women are unrapeable, what kind of comment is that?
Well, I think he's kind of like taking a shot there, like believing that they're lying. You know what I'm saying? So he's believing that they're lying, so he's taking a little backhanded shot at them. I don't think he would say something like that if he thought they were telling the truth.
Yeah, unrapeable just seemed like an awful description to use.
Yeah,
Oh man,
You know, bro, maybe I'm like sick and demented, but like, bro, he's an old man now. Like, how can I don't know, bro. He's a freaking old man now, and I just listen. If he's guilty, you know, obviously, bro, he's wrong, and it was horrible. But you know, kind of like, how sad is it, bro? That you know, I'm sure look it up, Jeff. I'm sure the guy's pushing 80.
Cosby.
Yeah, he's got to be 75.
Yeah. Let's take a look here.
He's got to be 75, bro.
This is where we need like fact checkers, like assistants to have this stuff on standby for us. He's 78.
He's 70. I said 80, 75, 80. Can you imagine, bro, being 78 like in me and like, yeah, I don't know, you last 5, 10 years on this earth. This is what you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying, bro? And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it if he did all these things, but man, can you just imagine like knowing, you know, the end is close and like this is my life every day. All around, it's a horrible situation. Let's move on. I got something more important. The guy with the 19-inch penis. Now, a report surfaced, bro. Here's the thing. Listen, a report surfaced. But the beauty of this story is not in the report. The beauty of this story is like the B story that nobody's commenting on, that I would like to comment on. Okay? There's the gentleman with the 19-inch penis. Okay? And now we find out that he had a criminal record because at one point in his life, he tried to illegally enter the country. Okay? Now, he's claiming while he was in jail with his 19-inch Swanson, he was verbally, physically abused. He said that the prison guards referred to his Johnson as the anaconda. He said there was some female prison guards who like were peeping Tom on him. He said that when he had to be patted down, some of the cops patting him down, you know, got a little feel in there, copped a little feel of the 19-inch hose snake. And then the cops are turning around saying he's full of crap. He was always exposing himself. He was playing with himself, you know, the whole line. Okay, that's the story, right? Bro, here's the real story. Okay? Can you imagine in the middle of the night, bro, the black of the night, okay? This guy illegally is trying to leave his country, and he's trying to drag this thing across the border, bro, with nobody seeing him. Can you imagine, bro? He's got this 19 freaking inch monster that is he holding it and running with it? Is it dragging through, like, you know, the thorns and the stones and the rocks? Can you imagine trying to illegally leave your country, not bringing any attention to yourself, while carrying along the way a 19-inch penis, bro? Can you freaking imagine that, Jeff?
Maybe that's why he got caught. Maybe he tripped over it and fell. And
just the freaking imagery. I mean, is he carrying it? Is he dragging it along? Is it bringing up the rear? And he's trying to do this with nobody noticing. He's trying to illegally get in the country.
Has there been anybody investigating? Because you were implying you thought this wasn't legit. It's a work. And we're a week out now. Has anybody investigated?
I was reading the other day. That, you know, there's a lot of speculation that the wiener in question is actually 6 inches long. And, you know, bro, you know how like somebody gets these like ridiculous tumors? Bro, there was a guy on Stern, and I think the guy's since passed away. Like, bro, you know how I have my man sack problems? Well, this guy had a man sack that like weighed 30 pounds. And I mean, you saw it on the Stern show. You saw it. And I mean, it was a gigantic tumor. I mean, that's what it was. So there's a lot of people saying it's a 6 incher. A tumor has wrapped around it. That's why he keeps it in the sausage packing for nobody to see. So there's a lot of speculation that way.
You know what I wonder is, when he's sitting on the toilet, it has to be stirring the pot, so to speak. You know what I mean? That thing is in there. It's got to be touching bottom.
I mean, not only not only in there, it's got to be filling the toilet. So now you have to ask yourself the question: like, is he crapping on his own wiener?
Has to be. I mean, or he's holding it up, flopped it over the front.
Yeah,
of the bowl.
It can't. Yeah, bro. It's got to be. I guess he pees first, holding it like this, and then I guess he sits down and he throws it to the side. Yeah, it would have to be something like that, bro.
These are the questions people need to investigate.
But I just can't imagine in the middle of the night him trying to, inconspicuously get this across the border with nobody notice. Unbelievable. What do you got for me, Jeff?
Did you hear this Keith Richards deal?
Yes, I did. Yeah, and okay. he did it to his father, by the way. That's a shoot,
Right, and that's what starts this. For anybody that doesn't know, Keith Richards admitted, I don't know, to Rolling Stone or something, a few years back that he snorted his father's ashes, which is, to me, is just absolutely disturbing. Because, I mean, where does it go when you snort it? You ate it. He ate his father, okay? That's what happened. He ate his father, crapped him out later. He wants his daughters to snort his ashes when he dies. Is this not I mean, do you not see this as disturbing? Like,
bro, think about this, though. Listen, what do you do if you're the daughter? You know what I'm saying? What do you do, like, if you're the daughter and you think this is as sick and twisted and demented as you think it is, but, like, this was my father's last will and testimony that he really wanted me to do that? You have to do it, no?
I don't know. I just, unless they're as weird as he is, and they think it's a good idea. But to me, that's just absolutely just strange. I couldn't imagine. Like, and the fact, I mean, are you not grieving over the passing? I couldn't imagine grieving over the passing of a loved one and then sitting there with their ashes and be like, okay, here we go. Like, there's got to be something wrong with somebody to do that. I just think that is incredibly weird.
I hear you 1,000%, Jeff, but I think it's like, I think the most strong thing about it is putting the pressure on the kid.
Yeah, because when he dies, everybody's going to remember this, and they're going to go to the girls. Hey, right. Are you going to snort it?
Yeah, because if you don't do it, you're going to live with the fact that, my imbecilic father really wanted me to do this, and I didn't do it, and he knows I didn't do it, and messed up, bro. Absolutely messed up.
Reminds me of this line because, I mean, you think about it. You're ingesting these ashes. Your body's not using these. You know what happens next. There was this show on Fox last year, and it was called Rake. It didn't last very long because nobody watched it, but it was hilarious. And then this guy was a lawyer, and he did all these crazy cases. That was the premise, all these weirdo cases. So this one guy was arrested for murder and eating his victim, and this guy was defending him. Well, they ended up finding the tape that the guy that he ate committed suicide, and his last wish was for somebody to eat him. Okay. And
they showed that tape
in court. Yeah, it's a fake show. I mean, it's a scripted show. Okay. Yeah, it's a TV show. So the kid says on the tape, "My father always said I was a piece of crap. Now I'm really going to be." And like, I laughed so hard. Like, that's great. That's what made me.
That reminds me of one of my favorite movies, Brian. I think this movie was very, very, very underrated. I actually own this movie. I've got it on my iPad. Bro, you ever see Due Date? With Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis? Oh, no. Zach Galifianakis is, I love Zach Galifianakis. You got to watch this movie. It's hysterical. But long story short, his father died. And he wanted his ashes scattered, I think, over the Grand Canyon. So Zach Galifianakis puts his father's ashes wind up in a coffee can. So as you can imagine, they make coffee out of his father's ashes. But that's what it reminds me of. But bro, you should really see that movie. It's a freaking phenomenal, hysterical movie.
Are you into the late night scene, like with all this hype with Stephen Colbert debuting? Did you check out the show?
I watched a lot of Colbert, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. Can I tell you how my whole late night thing works? I'm going to be totally honest with you because I'm so I'm 54, but sometimes I have like the mind of a 12-year-old. Okay, I will flip through my television guide and I'll look at all the late night shows and I'll look at who the guests are. Okay. If it's a hot female that might be wearing something sexy and I know she'll be the first guest, I'll put it on to see the hot, sexy female. That's it. I'll be honest with you. And, bro, I got to tell you something, too. Now that you brought this up, and I'm sure your question is probably going to be about Colbert, okay? And I saw a little bit of his show. But I got to bring up something else on another show. That really is starting to bother me. Two things. First of all, bro, like listen, he's a nice guy. Everybody loves him. You want him to be your uncle. You want him to be your next door neighbor. I can't watch Jimmy Fallon for two reasons. First of all, I've never seen a guest host like just ass kiss like every one of his guests to nausea. Bro, maybe I'm guilty a little bit of that, but I will also ask the hard questions. I will also ask you the hard questions. Maybe when the interview's over, I'll put you over, I'll kiss your backside a little bit. But from the minute they sit in the chair to the end of the interview, it's an ass kissing contest from the beginning to end. And here's another thing, bro, that like I cannot handle. Okay, the relationship with him and Justin Timberlake, like I mean, bro, it's not freaking normal. And listen, I'll tell you. And listen, here's another thing too. Okay, listen, go back to the early NSYNC years. Okay, Justin Timberlake's a fruitcake. Okay, bro, he's not a good-looking guy. He's a fruitcake. I think Jessica Biel's. I think she's a beard. I think the kid has been adopted. I think that is an entire front. Watch how he carries on with Jimmy Fallon. The whole Fallon Timberlake. Listen, I'm all for having friends in the industry. Listen, I'm a big Rat Pack fan, but like Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra, they had a manly relationship. They smoked, they drank liquor, they had the women. I understand that. The way like Fallon and Timberlake like love on each other every second they get, it's like it's such a turnoff to me. I can't. There's something wrong. There's something not right about it. I have big issues with it. That has a lot of reason to do why I don't watch the show.
What I was gonna bring up, it involves Jimmy Fallon because I thought this was funny. Well, now like Colbert and Fallon, they're head to head now, same time slot. It's the Late Show versus the Tonight Show. So on Colbert's first show, he's going over his set, the new set, and he shows this screen on the wall, and he's like, and I got a TV over here. That way, if the guest gets boring, I can, flip through the channels. And so he pulls it up and he starts flipping through the channels. He's like, well, let's see what else is on. And then Fallon comes on, and he's like, oh, hey, Steven. And they're like talking to each other, and Steven's like, well, who's your guest tonight? And they're interacting and talking about their guests. I thought that was really weird, because he's really on the other channel at the same time, and they're conversing like that. And then at the end of the show, they were like in the locker room together, closing lockers, and said, I'll see you tomorrow and stuff. Very strange, but I thought it was really interesting that NBC would agree to do that.
Yeah, bro, whatever happened with competing against each other? What is that? That's so freaking weak, bro. Bro, did you ever see the movie, the late, what was it called? The Late Show, where how Letterman and Leno were competing to get that Tonight Show spot?
No, is this a documentary?
No, it's a movie, bro. It's a movie, and I think it's on Netflix. I think it's called The Late Show, but it's a reenactment of like literally the competition they were in for that spot. I mean, come on, bro. Everybody's competing for ratings. What is that, bro? You know what it is? Nobody's got balls anymore, bro. Like nobody has. They don't have balls anymore, man. Bro, I remember, and I'm sure you know this too. It's documented, bro. Johnny Carson introduced the world to Joan Rivers. Okay, bro? Joan Rivers, years later, got her own talk show on Fox opposite Johnny Carson. You know this story?
No, I know she came on the Tonight Show, but I didn't know her.
Yeah, he made her career. Okay, she years later, bro, she got a talk show on Fox. When she went and did the talk show, she was freaking dead to Carson. Carson never spoke to her again as long as he lived. Well, I mean, bro, what happened to good old freaking competition? Colbert should be looking to crush Jimmy Fallon. Well, I don't understand. Why are they doing that?
I don't know. I thought it was very strange. And they had I don't remember if it was that night or the second night, but he put up this graphic of all the late night show hosts, and it was a picture of him and Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and Conan. Like, he had them all up there, and it was like really strange because the four of them are on at the same time. So yeah, they're competing for ratings. So I don't know, maybe if NBC agreed to do that because it got their guy on their show, and maybe it was kind of like a free advertising deal. So maybe that did benefit NBC. And maybe CBS was the one that I should be wondering why they agreed to it. But yeah, it was just weird, very weird.
It's just weak, bro. It's just what happened to old school, man. It's just weak.
We kind of talked about the Patriots earlier, but did you read this Outside the Lines report?
Yeah, the one that you sent to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, it was too long for me.
I know it was long, and I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
But I started it, and I could not stop reading it. It is so unbelievable, the stuff that was in this report. Apparently, Belichick has this guy that works there. Nobody knows what he does. But apparently it came out that he's the guy that runs all the taping and the stealing of the signals, and he was the weird guy. But they would have their video people cover up Patriots logos with tape on their shirts, disguised as NFL cameramen. They would go and be behind the person's bench, like, so that they would think they were with the NFL filming it. Like, they had line, if anybody was to ask him, they had lines that they were all supposed to say who they were working with, and they weren't supposed to say they were working with the Patriots. And one came out that they would send people into the visitors' locker rooms looking for their play sheets, that they taped they would sign people after they taped the signals that got let go from a team they were playing that week, just to bring them in with this weird guy in his office and go through the signals that they had on video to see if they had them accurate. And he would sit up in the booth and radio down to Belichick what was coming. And then, like Hines Ward had said, when they played an AFC Championship game, I think it was 2002, they were running stuff they'd never run before, and it was like the Patriots were in their huddle. And he absolutely believes 100% they stole their stuff and they knew what was coming. The Rams, apparently the guy that filmed it, he's come out and he's kind of said a lot of the stuff, but he went to their Super Bowl walkthrough and videotape stuff, which is completely illegal. And they had, for the first time ever, had Marshall Faulk as a kick returner, like doing some play with Marshall Faulk as a kick returner. And then so nobody knew this was ever going to happen. And when the Rams pulled it out in the game, Patriots kicked it out of bounds or away from him. They knew it was coming, that he was going to be the kick returner on a reverse or something. I don't know, but it was kind of like, when you read these or watch these conspiracy programs and you kind of get the chills of how evil these people really were. I got that feeling reading this. I don't understand, if all of this is true in the report, how this guy is even allowed to coach. Is absolutely mind-blowing.
Well, wasn't there a problem last night with the headsets, Jeff? Did you hear that?
Yes, and they even said that on the broadcast. Sorry, my dog is barking.
Okay.
But the headsets in the Sorry.
Bro, it's much better if you cut the promo on air. Why are you muting the mic, bro? You're killing the show, man.
It hurts your ear. But the Steelers headsets, they had the Patriots radio broadcast of the game was going into their headsets, and they couldn't communicate with the coaches. And then another report came out that they're filing a report with the league that every time the NFL representative went down to the sidelines, it stopped. And then when he'd walk away, bam, they got the broadcast back again. And Mike Tomlin, he was asked about it, and you need to see this. It's like a 42-second clip. It's on ESPN.com, where they asked him about it. and he was livid, and he's talking about, yes, every time this happens, every time here, something happens every time we play here. And it's just, I mean, it's unbelievable. The NFL is trying to cover it already, saying that they supply the equipment, but and like they say it was some electrical malfunction because of the inclement weather. Like, what weather? Like, it didn't rain till the fourth quarter, and it was just rain. There was no thunderstorms or anything. Yeah. But the fact that this report just came out 2 days ago or whatever it was, that they would try, if they tried something, I don't want to, politically correct. I don't know if they did it or not. But the fact that if they did try something like 2 days later on the Thursday night opener, like, that's balls, man. Like, I can't believe that they would even
Can you imagine when Belichick is done coaching and he writes his book, bro, and he just comes clean with all these things? I mean, there's going to be a lot of people feeling like the biggest freaking idiots in the world, bro.
Yeah, but apparently when they got busted, it was a sting operation because Eric Mangini, who was the coach of the Jets, used to work under Belichick, and Belichick kind of, like the Joan Rivers story, he gave him his start. And so when he left to go to the Jets, Belichick just kind of wrote him off because he hated the Jets of what happened when he was with the Jets. He changed the locks of his office, didn't let him even clean out his office before he went to the Jets. Well, I guess Mangini knew all the crap they were doing, so he set up his own people to a sting operation, and when the people were in there filming the Jets, like, they caught him. They called the NFL. The NFL came in and all this other stuff, and that's how they got busted. I mean, the story, you got to read this. It's such an amazing article. I couldn't stop reading it.
Maybe I'll read it now that you explained it that way.
But it's insane. And if it's true, if this is all legit, this guy should not be in football, man. That's just my opinion. It's just going way too far. The Rams believe they lost the Super Bowl because of this. Their offensive coordinator, he was their head coach at the time, Mike Martz. He designed this crazy play that he had never used before, and they had only done it in practice. And it was some, like, completely misdirection play where they reversed back to Marshall Faulk, who should be waiting in the flat wide open. There was 3 Patriots on him. And, like, he said he was blown away. There was no way that this should have happened. Like, they knew it was coming. And when he went to the 49ers, Goodell called him and made him sign this thing that said that he was pleased with the investigation by the NFL and that the Patriots didn't affect the outcome of the game and blah, 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 blah. And he signed it because he was still in the NFL. But now he's come out saying, he believes that it did affect the game. Hines Ward said it affected the championship game. So the fact that it possibly could have affected Super Bowls and championship games, I mean, how is this guy even allowed?
That's crazy, bro. That's
absolutely
nuts,
insane.
Yeah.
That's all I got this week, man. You got any other topics?
No, I think that's it, bro. I think those were the things that were on my mind this week. What do you got going this weekend? Anything?
Oh, just football, man. Excited to watch Sunday. Probably watch football all day. Other than that, man, probably nothing.
What's going on? Do you have a new video coming out soon? I mean, I'm eager to see what's going on with Big Guy. What's going on?
I'm having an issue right now. I'm not ready to say what the issue is, but I need to figure out something, and then we'll go from there. There's some drama going on with this with Destiny Unbound. So,
bro, do not tell me the Big Guy wants to be paid for his appearances.
No, absolutely not.
All right, he wants alcohol for his appearances.
No, nothing like that. I got most of the next episode in the can. He's putting
on weight, and he doesn't want it recorded.
I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't know all the facts at this time.
Oh, bro.
So we'll leave a kind of a hook there.
But I mean, I'll
tell you off the air.
But we're gonna get another episode, though, right, bro?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, now I want to end the show so you can tell me off the air.
Listen, what I want you to do for next week, if we remember, the fall TV season's starting. So I want to know if there's any shows you're going to be watching that you're excited about. We can talk about that next week on the show.
Bro, you know what I was watching, like a little behind the scenes of, like, and I got to tell you, by watching it, it was piquing my interest. And I think the show's going to be on Fox. There's a show coming on Fox called Scream Queens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Jamie Lee Curtis is in this.
Yeah, Emma Roberts.
Yeah, and I guess, bro, like they said it where there's this red mask killer or something, and like somebody's murdered, at the very, very beginning, and like the whole thing becomes kind of whodunit. But I mean, I saw them with the director and Jamie Lee Curtis, and it seemed really, really interesting. So I mean, I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, that's one of the shows that I got to watch and see.
Tuesday nights. That's when that's going to be on. Tuesday nights.
Does it say when it starts?
22nd.
Okay, so I got a little bit of time. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm gonna get. I always get excited when the guide catches up and I can set my DVR for the upcoming season and my season pass and pick my shows and all that. So I think that'd be a good topic to discuss next week. Maybe we can find a show like we did with Wayward Pines where we can kind of discuss that every week.
We definitely need to, bro. So, all right, Jeff, let's just tell them, one last time, since this does go out to everybody. I forgot. We have 19 days left, $2.99 a month for life. You can opt out at any time. You have to be a member of the brand to get the upcoming Mick Foley podcast, which will be on the 21st of September, and the upcoming Ric Flair podcast, which will be the 28th of September. Also, I want to remind people, Jeff, we haven't said this in a long time, about the Amazon. If you buy something on Amazon and if you go through our site, just click the Amazon button, buy whatever you're going to purchase through our site. We get a little bit of a kickback on that, which helps us out in the long run. So just another reminder. Any last words, Jeff?
No, but about that Amazon, yeah, it's real easy, and it doesn't change your shopping experience. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's absolutely the same. But if you just go to Amazon, by clicking the banner on our page, we get a referral for that. That's it. So it does nothing extra for you. It's no extra work. It just helps us out.
Yep. Well, there you have it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Everything but freaking wrestling. And we will be back in full force next week right here on the brand. Take care, everybody. Have a great weekend.